I specialize myself in consultant of communication and image marketing. But then I came to Angola and I was like challenged by a friend to start event of stand-up comedy. And I think that this is where it starts. People don't understand that you are just a person who just read a lot more or so. By reading, I just remember that in 2013, a group of guys were arrested for trying to read a book. You have some nights, it's like magic. Sometimes you just go out like at midnight and then you look at the watch and it's like 9 p.m. and you still chilling. It's amazing.
Hello, Africa. You're listening to 1000 African Voices. I'm your host, Aburengwi C, coming to you from our Johannesburg studios. 1000 African Voices is a program that profiles Africans of diverse cultures who have traveled and lived across the African continent and the world. In this series, we will collect and share stories from all parts of Africa. Welcome.
1000 African Voices.
Today we're joined by Mr. Tiago Costa from Angola, who will shortly introduce himself to the listeners of 1000 African Voices. Hello, Tiago Costa.
Hi, and thank you for having me. It's a very blessing.
Thank you for agreeing.
Okay. It's tough because English isn't my first language, but yeah, we're gonna go. Let's do it.
No, I mean, it's for me, if I had to do an interview in Portuguese, I will really struggle. So it's always fascinating when someone who speaks one language, but they can do a full interview in another language. So yeah, I mean, you're already winning. Tiago, just by way of introduction, who are you and what is it that you do?
So my name is Tiago. I'm 34 years old. I'm Angolan and Portuguese. Actually, I was born in Portugal. My mother was there working for the government here in Angola. Then my father is a journalist. And I think I grew up like with a lot of information because of my father and my mother. And I didn't know what to do at the time. But then when university time came, I had to choose, and like any African that have an opportunity to study and stuff, people, the partners, the family are very worried and very, I think, stubborn because you need to do something. And I was like in Portugal studying, and I realized I would law, so I did. But I liked very much communication from since the beginning because of my father. And I specialize myself in consultant of communication and image marketing. But then I came to Angola and I was like challenged by a friend to start event of stand-up comedy. And I think that this is where it starts. I always liked to write a lot. I think I write better than I speak, but I rather speak than write. And I create a platform in 2012 that would enable humorists, or at least guys that did the art but didn't know what they were doing, stand-up comedians most of all. And we create like a trend, and hopefully now it's like almost an industry which we can work towards humor, and in that way we can like talk about the issues of our country. The idea came because in Portugal I was always looking for daily show at the time with Jon Stewart and now with Trevor Noah. I was looking for John Oliver, so guys that mock with the politics, mock with the power. And because of, I think, my degree in law, I just realized that I could as well in my country. I know that my country has a lot of problems, a lot of issues, a lot of censorship. My father was censorship was censored back in the days. Me myself, in sometimes they close some doors and sometimes some windows open. Like we are always struggling, but I think in the end of the day, what I feel is that we need to be ourselves, no matter what, no matter whom. So I think this is my introduction.
No, it's a very good introduction, Tiago Costa. There's so much that you've covered. I want to explore the fact that your profession is that of a stand-up comedian. You mentioned that you studied law. You spoke about your dad who is into journalism. But I'm always curious to understand why someone makes the choice to, in your case, pursue a career in stand-up comedy. At what point did you make that decision? Was it based on you one day looking at yourself in the mirror thinking, hey, I can actually make money from being a funny guy?
No, actually not. I only do stand-up comedy for like a formal way, professional way, about 2 years. It will do 2 years in January. But I create the platform. I was like behind the scenes and I was working with it. What I think is that I like a lot about comedy. I think I am like not a happy person, but I am a happy person, but I'm always smiling. At least I'm trying. And I have an issue, I think is an issue. When something bad happen, my nervous system just like goes with the panic, goes joking. Just so you realize, when my grandfather died in 2015, everybody was crying at the funeral. And I was like, in my head, I was creating jokes that actually it will be here now I will do in 5 of December, my first appearance as a solo in a solo stand-up comedy show. So I think I'm a bit different when I'm reacting to stuff. And this is one thing that it's I think is important to know. The other thing is that I realized not that I was funny, because I think I always was, not as like a professional funny, but funny guy. But I realized that I couldn't rely on other people. What made me do stand up was that I create the platform, but because here we have a lot of problems, structural problems, mental problems. You just name one problem we have. And the people that we are helping each other, but the people we were helping thought that we had like obligation. No, for me, it's simple. If I tell you to be here at 5, you can be here at 6. This is something that for me doesn't work, because I believe that the economy, to work, you need to be on time. You need to be objective. You need to fulfill the need, and that's it. And here we are about to let it go, let it flow. This is Angola, and this doesn't work for me. And there was a time that some comedians were trying to test me, and I was like, I need these guys. I don't like to need nothing, and I will not be needing anymore. That's why I start comedy. I'm working with a lot of people, and I always work with a lot of people. I'm helping, and they are helping me in a lot of ways. But there are some comedians that are not longer working with me that made me do stand-up comedy because I don't negotiate with terrorists.
I like that. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
I want to, because we've never really engaged or interviewed anyone from your part of the world, Tiago, Luanda, Angola. I want to spend a bit of time understanding the country as well as the city. And I'll tell you what I know just as a reference. So I know that Angola is a Portuguese speaking country, that the capital is Luanda, that in terms of civil war, there's a bit of an unfortunate history. But what I've come to know on the positive side is that when it comes to basketball, Angola is one of the giants of world basketball. But as a traveler, the reason I personally haven't been to Luanda is that it is one of the world's most expensive cities to visit. So in short, from my side, that is what I know of Luanda or Angola. But I would like to understand the country a bit more from your perspective. So can you tell us a bit more about your part of the world?
Sure. From my point of view, it's like that. We were a colony until mid 70s, 60s. And then the guys that were supposed to give us the independence, the guys who were supposed to give us the country, they were like blind with the power and with the money from about 40 years or more, because in this gap we had the civil war inside. So what I think we had in all these years was a war of egos, and that what like push back our country. And when I'm telling about our country, I'm telling about our people, because today even the traditions are no longer what they were. The people we have a lack of education, which is like just forget about it. It's very big, very big. And besides that, we are like talking about a country who is a range of people between 18 and 29 or 35, which are like the 70 or 80% of the population. So what I'm trying to tell in you is that a couple years ago, some minister of education said that the reform that we had 10 years ago was a bust. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's very difficult in every part of the economy, in every part of society. You have like a standard, because we are all broken. As a society, we are all broken. I because I study a law, maybe I didn't study a lot, maybe I didn't study enough, but I think that we are not a nation, because you need to have a criteria to be a nation, and I don't think we are a nation. We don't think alike. We don't have what we want, because the country is so bad, and now it's even worse. Because of the country, people don't think about collective. It's only individual. It's like the salvation is individual. Yeah, it's true. And this is understandable, because the country isn't good, but at the same time, unfortunately, because we should be thinking big as a community, but no, we are trying to survive. I think that we are trying to survive. And maybe if someday you come here, you'll see that even the richest guy, just do you know, the richest woman in Angola, which happens to be the richest woman in Africa, doesn't live in Angola. So what I was trying to tell you is that even the richest here are struggling with something.
That's quite interesting. I mean, the richest Angolan, who happens to be the richest woman in Africa, doesn't live in Angola. Can you maybe just explore that a bit? What do you mean? Where does she live? And why is she then in the reckoning or the running as the richest woman in Africa?
So she live, I don't know where, because I think when you are the richest billionaire in Africa, you don't have like a home. You have like everywhere you go, you have a home. First of all, and then we cannot forget that we are Africans, so we like to live large. First of all, so this is very interesting because she doesn't live here apparently because she flew when she was about to be notified by the attorney general because she made no, it's very it's like a novel, it's like a Brazilian novel. So she was her father, which was the president of Angola, José Eduardo dos Santos, which is not here anymore as well, is in Spain. At least I know him is in Spain. Nominate her 1 year before he left the chair to be the CEO of the Sonangol. Sonangol is like the Total or the BP, the main national petroleum company in the country. And when her father left the chair, the new president was naturally or not, because they are from the same party, and actually was her father who nominated him, but yes, who knows, start to asking questions. And in some way, there was like two sides, the sides of the previous president and the side of the new president. And because she was who she was, and because eventually when she was returning a billionaire, she must have like made a lot of enemies. The ambience here wasn't good. So she made the new CEO of Sonangol made a claim that she was like embezzlement or something when she was the CEO. Then she made a fine. Yeah, I think, no, not a fine, like in charge.
Right.
She pressed in charge. And then to be to go further, they need to notify her. But when she was about to be notified, she left, and now she is on Twitter, on Instagram, everybody, every night, every morning. It's she acting like she is here, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a novel.
Yeah. Now, Ken, obviously you've got strong views and feelings on those that have made it in an Angola and then decided to leave the country as opposed to go elsewhere. But perhaps, Tiago, I want to focus a bit more on the work that you do, your brand, so that we can get to understand, as the listeners of 1000 African Voices, just to get to understand how a stand-up comedian makes a living in Angola. Can you just take us through that, like the life of a comedian, the good, the bad, and perhaps the ugly as well?
It's tough. It's tough, but I think the worst, it's on the past. So at the beginning, we were misunderstood, even today, but at the beginning was worse because people were afraid. We start when was the previously president, and he had like a fame of being tough, but at the end, it wasn't him. It was like the boss of a journal or the boss of a TV, and they always said like it's a superior order, superior order, superior orders. Even yesterday, we realized that for the past 40 years, our Federation of Football was illegal. And that was on the TV, national TV, yesterday. I'm just telling you, like, you to understand the ambience that we were growing up. And there is another problem, which is the education here is very low. So So everybody assume that if you know a bit more, you are an intelligent person. And when you are seen as an intelligent person, not always it's a good thing, because people are jealous, or people don't understand that you are just a person who just read a lot more or so, and you just could read. And by reading, I just remember that in 2013 a group of guys were arrested for trying to read a book. So you need to understand that here the stuff are very abnormal, which is normal for us. But it's like the comedians, we are all poor. I think, and this is me being very sincere, probably I am because I could be doing other stuff, other thing. I am the person on comedy who is a little bit better. But in the general, we are always are struggling, because if you are talking about like a father, he needs to do another thing besides comedy. Actually, here a couple years ago, even the president, who were at the time turning him and his family as a rich or billionaire family, told us that a Angolan usually have 2 or 3 jobs. So our reality is like, you just need to struggle. And it will never stop. And even when you can stop, like I'm talking about the guys who have a lot of money nowadays, they don't know what is stop, because of the power, because of the influence, because of the fear. I think that, and this is very personal, that we are like a tic-tac bomb, and not only for the oppression or for the manifestation, but inside emotional, we are always struggling. That's what I'm thinking while I'm talking to you.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So the
can
community
tell.
is worst, because we came from a poor neighborhoods with no opportunity, and we almost everybody start at the church. So you need to know that church here has a lot of power as well, and the culture, the education, and the health are not priority for our country, because you see at the GOP,
GDP.
the budget, yes, it's not a priority, so it's very, very difficult.
It's very interesting. I mean, what you've shared now is, I suppose, a new perspective for me, because when I read up, I understand that in Luanda there are a lot of foreign nationals, and because of that, and because of the oil riches, the city itself tends to be an expensive one to live in. So when you share what you've just shared, the perspective that I get is new. And the reason I say new is I always naively so believed Luanda to itself be rich, but also its citizens to be well off. So I'm wondering whether there is then a discrepancy between the riches of those that come from outside Luanda versus the native citizens of the country. Yeah, I always really imagined everyone in Luanda doing reasonably well, which is different from the perspective that you've just shared now.
Oh, no, just forget about it. Even the expats, they struggle finding at least products, because we import almost everything, and we are not in a situation right now that this is a simple thing to do. Even expats, some at least, they struggle to change money, because now at this time the rates, and the economy is just going up and down. Just forget about it. So at least now and a couple years ago isn't like it's a sea full of roses, isn't it? Even for the rich guys. And now, because of all the things I am telling you, the crime just arise like so. Everybody is very limited.
Wow. All right. I mean, let's maybe talk a bit about the fun things in Luanda. I mentioned earlier, I talked about basketball and the dominance of Angola. I also know that when it comes to football, your country is quite competitive. What other great or amazing things happen in Angola, just on the positive side? So if I were to visit your country, what are some of the things that I can look forward to?
So everything that isn't explored by the man, it's amazing. So the problem is that we think that tourism is always like, if we think about tourism, we think about monuments. But I think here we have like rural tourism. You know what it is? Yeah, you know, because you are in South Africa. And it's like when you do with the savannas and the stuff, we have a lot of unexplored areas in Angola. And Angola is very, very big and very, very rich. They have a fauna. It's amazing. So you have a lot of stuff here to do. But if you are in the city, the thing that I can suggest you, it's like the beach. It's amazing. There are some days that they are like garbage, but it's amazing. Here in Musulu, it's amazing. Then you have some nights, some like disco. The disco here, the nights, it's like magic. Sometimes you just go out. Yes, sometimes you just go out like at midnight, and then you look at the watch, and it's like 9 p.m. and you still chilling. It's amazing. It's amazing.
All right. So there's.
I think the people are very humble. Besides everything, the people are very humble and very hospitality. I think the problem is power and money, but this is a problem like for the world. So it's a problem.
No, I totally agree. And culturally and specifically when it comes to food, I mean, what would you say is typical Angolan food?
So here you have like a lot. You just can't forget that I was born in Portugal and I almost have my studies there. So I'm very like a normal person, not a normal person, but I don't have like the same taste as an Angolan like origin, you know. But you have like funge, which is like a pasta that we do, and it's amazing, amazing. And then with the funge, you can mix with the muamba, which is like chicken and palm oil. It's amazing. And you have like, come on, yeah, I will be with starving. Like no, but you have, here you have a lot of fruits, which are good fruits. You have a lot of like we have a lot of vegetables as well.
All right. I mean, one day I do hope to come to Luanda. Tiago Costa, those who listen to this interview and be curious enough to want to reach out to you, how can people get hold of you? Are you on social media? And if you are, what are your social media handles?
Yes, so I'm in all social medias, in at least Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, because of the company Gozaki. Gozaki is like GOZAQUI. And it's the same thing as joke here. In Portuguese, joke here. I just combined two words and I made Gozaki. It's Gozaki in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have like it isn't a spin-off, of course, but is a thing likely daily show, which is a weekly show that we call it Só para Saber, which is just so you know, a sopa. It's like soup in soup in Portuguese is sopa. Então, so we combine again two words, and it's just so you know, sopa saber, that goes live on YouTube every Monday or sometimes Tuesday, because with the editor is a lazy guy, or the internet isn't good, or yes, life happen. We have like weekly shows on stand-up comedy live in Luanda. If you come, just let us know on the Facebook, Instagram. Me myself, I'm on Facebook and Instagram like TC. It's like TIIICII, or just Tiago Costa, no Facebook.
Lovely. Tiago Costa, stand-up comic, a citizen of Angola as well as Portugal. Again, to have the very first guest or the first ever guest from any country is always a pleasurable experience for myself personally, and hopefully for our listeners. So thank you for making the time to lend your voice to the 1000 African Voices project. I really look forward to hearing a lot more about the work that you do. Now I know a bit about Angola. I know a bit about the life and career that you have chosen, Tiago. So yeah, from all of us on 1000 African Voices, I would like to deeply thank you for making the time to talk to us and share your experiences. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers and take care.
Bye.
1000 African Voices.
You've been listening to 1000 African Voices. Please join us next time as we bring you yet another African voice. 1000 African Voices is produced by Aburengwi C. Sam Ganich is our sound engineer, with our head researcher Jones Maleka. The intro soundtrack for the show is by the legendary Salif Gator from his 1995 album Forlorn. The song you're listening to right now is by Chronix, and the title of the song is Legend. For more information, including the contact details of our guests, please visit us on our website www.1000africanvoices.com. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes by searching for 1000 African Voices. We are also available on Stitcher. You can find us as well on Podbean. The only thing we ask of you is that you subscribe to our show by logging on to 1000africanvoices.com and click the subscribe button. That helps us grow. It helps us keep producing and bringing to you more African voices. Until next time, Kungana Africa, and take care.
Being an ordinary person doing what's right. Yesterday at the football game, a little girl asked me my name. She said, "Sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you?" I said, "I am a legend that you never heard of before." I said, "I am a lion, but you never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, that means on the ocean of fame I'm an unknown sailor. I'm the percussionist playing with the whalers, the one with the shaker, the mover and shaker. My name wasn't on the front of the paper, but me not cater. Much more than the worker is greater. Creation glorifies creator. So all deeds done are in the name of my maker. I am a legend that you probably never hear about. Words from the lion's mouth. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, give praise, that means I made a change. I ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. We're out here changing lives day and night, day in, day out. BBC don't show it, CNN don't show it.